Good day, everyone. Napoleon here. And today we're going to get into a pretty interesting instrument. Let's see here. It's going to be AMD. AMD has been on a pretty nice run for the past, looks like about 3 months. So we'll go ahead and crack open the chart, see if we can get a better understanding of the potential direction, potential breakout point, or potential retracement upcoming here in the market. So if that sounds like something of interest, be sure to stick around to the end as we go over this and more. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the charts here, shall we? All right, so as you can see, we got three pretty interesting lines here on the charts. These are 3-month candles. And I basically want to point out, well, obviously three lines of interest. And I definitely want to, before we go over everything, is to just further legitimize the lines that I put up on the charts here. So the first things first is I'd like to start with the ascending line of interest, which is this beautiful yellow line that I put on the chart here. And just to further validate or legitimize the line to make sure that I have it in very nice placement, let's just go ahead and go over a few things about this line here. So as you can notice from the birth, the first thing we'll point out is the beautiful consolidation from the actual birth of this instrument, which is going to be right here. I'll just kind of put a line there. Okay. And we'll put another line just to identify an area of owner's interest. So if I had to choose an area, that would definitely be the line there because of this little breakout candle right here, if you can see it. Happened in July 1979. So if you kind of zoom out, you'll see that this is a very legitimate line of interest because it actually came down. The price came down, almost touched it here at the top, but unsuccessful. We got a nice bounce off the top of that area here. And of course, we had another touch point there as well. Now those years would be around 91, which is where it came close to coming down to touching the top of that box there. And it looks like we had a successful touch at the top of that owner structural range is what I guess I can call it. Back in 2008. Interestingly, that was around the recession. The Great Recession is what they're calling it. And we had another touch point above that owner's structural area in 2015. Now, if you got in 2015, man, you did very well on this instrument. But let's stay on track here, guys. Let's just make sure that my lines are legitimate. We've just verified that the owner structural area of interest still is intact. It has not been compromised. This area is still fully, where it needs to be, right? And this area being approximately about 18 cents, about 5 cents, and about $1.50. So the 5 cents up to $1.05 range is definitely still intact. The owners are definitely still fully engaged and supporting said instrument. So that has been verified, so we can simply move along here and go along with the details. Okay. So as I mentioned, the first thing we're going to pay attention to is the ascending yellow line of interest, the yellow line here. So as you can see here, since the birth of the stock, which is about 73-ish, we found support back in 1981 approximately. We found support on this ascending line of interest. So let's go ahead and circle an area that we can just point it out. Here, found support on the ascending line of interest. Now notice a couple years later there, about 86-ish up to about 1987-ish, about 2-year range, we came back into contact with this ascending line of interest. And interestingly, we broke below this ascending line of interest. And notice what happened when we successfully broke below the ascending line of interest. We started to find resistance at this line briefly here in 1993. We found a resistance level again in 95, and then 1997, another cluster of price action finding resistance. Now, we're taking on over to about 2000, which is the dot-com boom range, right? Interestingly, it actually successfully broke above the ascending line of interest, which is going to be the month of January-ish 2000. Notice that the successful break above this ascending line of interest, there was a looks like to be, I think I've already measured, it's about 100% move to the upside. But let's go ahead and calculate it here for everyone tuning in. See right here. So we'll just measure the actual break above the body, which is going to be approximately about right here. Okay. So measuring all the way to the top of that wick where it topped out in about 2000, it's about a 97% move to the upside, right? So it's pretty clear that this line, when the price action breaks above this line, it tends to get a pretty nice pop to the upside when there's a successful body of the candle that breaks above. Let me be very specific about that. Now notice that here there was a nice move to the upside. However, here when it actually broke above, there was a huge rejection candle. Now this cannot be compared to this because there wasn't a successful candle's body to break above, right? And when there was a successful candle body, this is actually what we consider those who understand chart candlesticks, this is a reversal candle. So when this comes in, it's definitely not the time to step into the market. It's to start looking for a potential sell targets or an actual position against said instrument to bet that the prices will be headed lower. So I just want to make sure that I'm pointing that out and that we're comparing apples to apples and understand that this candle here in comparison with this candle here, it's just not the same, because you'll notice that this 3-month candle is a solid full 3-month candle that broke above this ascending line of interest, right? Symbolizing strength, right? It broke above the line. You see it continued higher, of course, to form a reversal candle shortly thereafter. So again, you'll see that this will then be a reversal candle above the ascending line of interest, indicating that yes, this move is pretty much over, if not close to being over. I mean, it could still go to the upside, but just expect there will be a retracement in the near future when you see a reversal candle, especially on the higher time frames, which we are on the 3-month candles. Okay, so let's stay on track here, guys. Make sure that we legitimize this ascending line of interest, and we can all be in agreement and say yes, this yellow line is pretty significant. If not significant, it's definitely relevant, because we have just pointed out, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cluster of price action, and also spiking of price action on said ascending line of interest. Okay, so hopefully we can all agree and put a check mark and say yes, Mr. Napoleon Macro, your ascending line of interest is legitimate. Everything looks good, and there has been relevant price action near your ascending line of interest. Okay, so as we erase our little circles here, I can't do this quick enough, can I? We're going to go ahead into the next stage of this talk on this instrument and head on over to the descending line of interest, which is this green line here. And this line is also significant, in my opinion, because we have had a few multiple touch points. We'll go ahead and start here at the 48-ish dollar range. We had a touch on this green line, first touch. We have another line of interest. The first month, the year was around 2000, that dot-com bubble burst. And the second touch we had on this descending line of interest is in the year of 2006. Head on over to current or closer to present day. We had another touch on this descending line of interest. Looks like the year 2018. Now notice when the first time we came up to contact on this line, ever since the last time we touched the line in 2006, which is, what is that about? I guess let's just call it over a decade, right? Or we can call it 4,563 days. So after not visiting this line for 4,563 days, we came up to contact with this descending line of interest once again and got a pretty decent sized rejection, but not rejection deep enough to create a lower low. So believe it or not, this red candle is actually a bullish sign with respect to the following two candles breaking above this entire sell candle here in the short term. So what we're doing now is we're just pointing out the importance of this descending line of interest. Notice that the break above the two candles after the retracement It broke above, and then notice this red candle, it found support on this line, right? Everyone can see that? Well, at the line, right? It tried to break below, basically. The bears tried to step in and say, hey, let's push this price back down. They were unsuccessful pushing the price down. And of course, the bulls took that as an opportunity. And of course, as a result, they pushed the price higher from approximately about 27-ish dollars. And the current price of AMD is about 45.40. Okay. So hopefully we're all still in agreement that yes, Mr. Napoleon, this descending line of interest is also significant. We just pointed out 4 points of contact slash price action, cluster of price action near this descending line of interest. So the next thing we're going to do is pay attention to the actual all-time high of this instrument, which is approximately $48.50. Well, it is $48.50 according to this TradingView platform. Now, what I'm looking for or anticipating in this instrument is that the price should eventually make it to 48.50, the all-time high. Currently about 666, not a good number. Let's just push that up a little. Yeah, approximately 7% away from the all-time highs. Now, me as an investor, this is definitely not an area of interest for me to personally invest for a long-term play on said instrument, just because we are 7% away from the all-time high in this instrument. And this is definitely the area where a lot of investors are looking to sell their instruments out on the markets. Now, how much selling pressure is going to enter the market will definitely be determined. Only time will tell that, right? But I'm definitely looking forward to some sort of price that would eventually reach the $48.50 level. Now, what happens after it reaches that level, of course, your guess is better than mine. At this point, I'm definitely anticipating some sort of resistance, whether it will be enough resistance to push the price significantly lower. Again, that's all speculation at this point. But that's basically what I'm looking at in the short term on this instrument. I definitely am looking towards shorting this instrument, of course, when the time presents itself and when the actual 3-month candle shows me a reversal sign here in the short to midterm. Then and only then is when I will be interested in shorting this instrument. Now, the only thing I'll be honest is I'm a little concerned with is it's a technology stock, right? And typically technology stocks have behaved, well, I'm anticipating that it will behave in a certain way as time progresses as a very strong stock that would eventually always make higher highs and prove that it is a stock worth holding for the long term, right? And eventually, finding its true value in the market, with the exception to the bigger players pushing the price up to simply make profits in the market and sell it out on the public. So I guess in a nutshell, that's basically what I'm looking at. I'm waiting for the price to get up to about 48.50. After it does that, I would then be looking for some sort of retracement or a breakthrough of this yellow ascending line of interest. And of course, the all-time high would definitely be a area of interest in terms of seeing what's going to happen to the price, since the price has never visited any areas above 48.50. So that's pretty much all I'm looking for in a nutshell. I think we're at a point where there's probably going to be more selling than purchasing at these levels. And the reason that I say that, I'm not just saying that just because. The reason that I say that is because notice we are again on 3-month candles, right? In the history of this instrument, there has never been a 3-month candle to successfully close a 3-month candle's body above the, let's see here, above the 38.89 level. And the reason, I don't know if it's obvious to you, the reason that I said it is because notice it has only wicked in this area. Wicks, for those of you listening who aren't familiar with what exactly a wick means, that basically means the price was rejected immediately. That means the sell pressure came in and pushed the price down within a 3-month period, which means the price never stayed within this range for longer than 3 to 6 months since with respect to these two wicks in the area here in the 2000.com bubble burst. So again, that's what I'm anticipating, guys. If there is a full candle's body, as it's showing that it's presenting current day in the month of December 2019, what we are currently in. If this price action closes above the 38, let's see, what did I say it was? 38, let's call it 39 bucks. If a full candle's body closes above this line, what I would then be anticipating is, yes, the price could potentially move higher, but at that point, I would then be looking for some sort of rejection candle. Now, that would definitely take another 3 to 6 months for me to determine what actually would happen to the price. And the only reason why I'm anticipating some sort of rejection candle is because currently, in current day, see if we can erase these lines. This line this purple line right here is a very important line to me. It's what I consider a reversion to the mean. And the reversion to the means are always respected on a higher time frame as opposed to a lower time frame, which means at some point when the price eventually reaches a point where everyone is in agreement and it says, yes, okay, it's time for us to somehow retrace in the markets. I am satisfied with the amount of profits that I'm going to make on this play, and it's time for us to go ahead and dump out on the market, so to speak, or let's just use a better term, and it's time for us to gradually sell our instruments out on the markets, and eventually return back to eventually revert back to the mean, which is this purple line, which currently is sitting at approximately $28. Now, that doesn't mean the price is going to go all the way down to $28 overnight. No, that's not what it means. It means that the price must take a pause and investors must figure out, okay, what are we going to do at the current levels? Let's say the price reaches $48.50. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and take a pause. Let's go ahead and keep the price up here. Let's see how much purchasing pressure is currently in the market. Let's see if people are still interested at these current levels, assuming that the price makes it up to $48.50. And let's figure things out. Do we have to push the price up higher? Is there enough purchasing pressure behind the move to say that yes, we can still push the price higher and break through the ascending line of interest that we pointed out here? So basically only time will tell. We have to wait and see what's going to happen in the markets. And my personal opinion is that if you're looking to enter the market now, you can very well do that. But it would definitely be at your own risk. Be sure to have a logical reason as to why you're entering the market, and definitely don't base your decisions on some news that just came out saying yes, AMD is going to 50 bucks or higher. Definitely make sure that you're entering the market based on some sort of technical reason or indicator to say, yes, this is a safe entry into the market, and I could anticipate I don't know, let's call it 10, 20, 50, or 100% move here in the short term to extract some profits out of this instrument in the short to mid term. So that's pretty much all I have in a nutshell. I guess to summarize everything, we're just waiting. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen to the price when it eventually reaches $48.50, which it looks like it's 7% away. I don't see why there's not enough momentum in the markets now to push the price all the way up to and possibly through the $48.50 level. So that's basically all I'm doing. I'm waiting, I'm watching the $48.50 level to see how I can approach the market. I'm definitely not going long at these levels, which to those who are going long in the markets, I'm not saying that it's a bad idea for you going long at these levels. It's perfectly at your own risk. And if you have determined your market entry is practical at these levels, then you very much well should go for the, that play and make sure that you protect yourself from any downside risks. And yeah, that's all I'm looking for, guys. 48.50 is the level, 7% away from the all-time highs. This is definitely an area where investors are considering selling some of their holdings in the AMD instrument. So just be sure to look out for that level, guys. 48.50 is the number. And that's pretty much all I got for this. If you agree with what I've said and you find interesting information in this video, be sure to leave your comments down below. If you totally disagree with me, that's fine. Leave those comments down below as well. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, be sure to subscribe for further informative videos like this and more. So it's to me, guys, Napoleon Macros signing off. Till next time, you guys be sure to take care of yourself. Take care.